Izanagi's Burden is my favorite exotic weapon in all of Destiny, and it's for many reasons. Firstly, aesthetically, I think it looks amazing, I think it sounds amazing, has incredible sound effects. There's nothing more beautiful in Destiny to me than loading a honed edge round, seeing the barrel just gradually illuminate, and then firing that shot and having that loud, menacing echo go off and reverberate throughout the map. I think it's so incredible, but this would mean nothing if it wasn't functional, and that's what really makes this weapon great to me, is the fact that it is, yes, very aesthetically pleasing as I've mentioned, but more so incredibly functional, and again this combines to make it very satisfying to use. In Trials of Osiris, Izanagi's Burden is no short of a power weapon. Now I know many people are using Revoker for the obvious reason, you shoot, you don't really run out of ammo if you miss, there's no penalty to missing, so you just take any shot without any sort of hesitation. I raise Izanagi's Burden being a true power weapon in Trials of Osiris because it takes the opposite approach, in which you go all in on a shot that you get a little bit more ease of use and a bit more guarantee of having an impact on the match out of. The way I see it, Revoker has a safety net and a still good opportunity to make an impact on the match, while Izanagi's Burden goes all in and has more likelihood to have a big impact on the outcome of a match. Now, what is the reason for this? So let's look at the most important things in Trials, especially currently with a lot of third-person peeking. Matches have been a bit slower, and they usually have a bit of a waiting period until people engage with one another, or it goes to zone, and of course you're forced to engage with one another. At that point, a lot of people tend to have supers anyways, so that kind of takes care of the engagement a lot of the time. And of course, there's a lot of third-personing right now in Trials because getting picked first is the most detrimental thing you can do to your team. Of course, next to that is not being involved in gunfights, but of course, getting picked allows the other team to have the best advantage, which is an additional player up, and they're just going to force their sheer advantage in numbers on you and usually continuously trade out until they win the round, because you only have 2 players and they can expense 2 players while still having one up to win the round. Not only that, but of course having another body is an additional angle and just more pressure to put on other players in a gunfight, of course team shooting as well, and just having another player to worry about in the fight. So because people are third personing, because obviously they don't want to get picked first and lose the round, and they want to get information very safely while within cover, like I mentioned, a lot of rounds are going to the time limit and going to zone, which forces people to engage, and by then a lot of people will have their supers or be very close to it, which means the next most deciding factor in a match is your super. Your super also, for obvious reasons, allows you to push up very aggressively, especially when the other team does not have any supers of their own. Of course, when you have a super up, it demands the attention of the enemy team. They need to deal with you, which both forces movement, because they need to get away from you most of the time, or into safe cover away from you, and the other part of this is because their attention is on you, because they need to deal with you, your teammates now have an incredible amount of space to push up on the enemies in order to get very easy kills if you, for whatever reason, can't get them, or at least you guys will be able to collapse very easily, because you and your super are going to be holding the enemy team's attention. So yes, the 2 most important things in Trials and elimination is going to be the first pick and supers. And what does Izanagi's Burden do really well? It can get the first pick very well, and it can kill supers. Since the changes to the adaptive snipers, Izanagi's Burden is the only adaptive sniper that can inherently, off of spawn, kill a super with a headshot no matter the resilience, and this is because you can stack your 2 bullets into 1 bullet of honed edge times 2, and that will deal bonus precision damage, resulting in a kill with a headshot against, again, any super. Now you might be thinking, Revoker does that as well. It's a high impact, it can snipe supers, and it gets your ammo back. But the thing is about Izanagi's Burden is that it does actually maintain all the base stats of an adaptive sniper. That means higher aim assist. With an aim assist stat of 62, that's only 6 below that of the Beloved. Now, although the Revoker does have an incredibly high range stat, we have to remember that stacking bullets into honed edge actually increases the range of Izanagi's Burden, pretty much morphing it into a high impact sniper that maintains the stats of an adaptive sniper but still inherits the stats of a high impact sniper, which is really strong. I mean, I don't think I have to tell you guys again at this point, range, responsible for accuracy, some things about cones. Basically, you're gonna get more headshots more consistently with a higher range stat, that is the TLDR. Range helps accuracy, accuracy helps headshots, because accuracy also by proxy has an impact on aim assist. Now don't misquote me, I didn't say that more accuracy equals more aim assist. No, I said that by proxy they do have a positive effect on each other. And overall this just boosts consistency, like I said. So Izanagi's Burden is going to have the best combination of range and a pretty good aim assist stat for killing supers on a consistent basis with a headshot. And not to mention the handling stat on the Izanagi's Burden. It might not be incredible with 52, but it's still plenty more than the 31 on Revoker, and it's really noticeable to me. I really don't like using Revoker because of how clunky and heavy it feels with its handling. Yes, it does have snapshot, so it's still very, very good, but to me, it just feels way too heavy. The most compelling argument for the Revoker over Izanagi's is going to be the scope. It has a 35 zoom scope. Of course, that's only shared with one other sniper, which is the Twilight Oath, and Izanagi's Burden has 45. Which is the same as Eye of Soul, which is still very good. Honestly, 45 zoom is still very usable, and I use Eye of Soul and Izanagi's Burden incredibly often, and I don't mind it at all, and I use Twilight Oath otherwise. So I think the scope is still very good, but however, it's not even just the FOV that I would compare here, it's the fact that how scope zoom changes the aim assist or consistency of hitting your shots with a sniper. That's the best argument I want to say for the Revoker in terms of ease of use and consistency. But if we're talking about the consistency in which these weapons can shut down supers, boy oh boy does Izanagi's Burden come back with its own massive consistency buff of its own. And of course that's because when you stack 4 shots and create Honed Edge times 4, this weapon can body shot a few supers or leave at least other ones completely absolute with just a sliver of health. So I tested the body shot with Honed Edge times 4 against all the roaming supers in the game. I didn't really care so much for the shutdown supers. I don't think this is as relevant to that. However, against Dawnblade, Nova Warp, and Hammer of Soul, it dealt 193 body shot damage, which was only able to be survived with 7 resilience. Otherwise, it did result in a body shot kill against these supers. I don't think I need to tell you why this is important that it kills these supers, but especially Dawnblade, because of Top Tree Dawnblade being very popular and it being a very powerful class. Allowing you to shoot one of these out of the sky is very, very important. Honed Edge times 4 won't kill Spectral Blades while in camo, but out of camo it will deal 189 damage, which will kill them in one shot if they are below 4 resilience, so 3 res and under. Against Arcstrider, Stormcaller, Burning Maul, Fist of Havoc, Thunder Crash, and Sentinel, the Izanagi's Burden Honed Edge times 4 will deal 185 damage and in no scenario body shot them, unfortunately, which again is unfortunately, I want to say, the majority of supers. Well, counting Golden Gun, of course, as a super that you can body shot, that's 5 supers that you can body shot with Izanagi's Burden and 6 that you cannot, if we're counting Thunder Crash as a quote-unquote roaming super, which I chose to because of its uptime now. But like I said, these supers, it's still 185 damage with a body shot. That's, of course, if you don't headshot them. So you really have a safety net of just putting a massive, menacing amount of damage into those supers that will force them to back up or just ultimately die because all your teammates need to do is breathe on them to kill them. So I think this is obviously enough reason for me to say, yeah, Izanagi's Burden is the super killing machine, and if you kill a super in Trials, well, you're putting yourself and your team into a massive point of advantage because likely, in an ideal scenario, you will have more supers than the enemy team. Or however, if you find yourself behind and having to kill a wave of enemy supers on the other team in order to claw back into the match and make a comeback, well, this weapon just might help you do that. And in fact, for me, it's done both those scenarios quite a fair bit. And unless I'm using the last word, Izanagi's Burden is pretty much my main sniper that I use the majority of the time. Thankfully, I've conditioned myself to not having to use snapshot or quick draw on a sniper. Instead, I just use enhanced targeting, which very much speeds up the ADS speed on a sniper, and it's incredibly noticeable. And that's good enough for me. I don't really need snapshot or quick draw. I've conditioned myself to not need those, so Izanagi's Burden has been my pick for a sniper, especially in Trials. If 4 times Honed Edge can kill a super, then obviously you'd know that it can definitely kill a normal player out of super. And this is important for the other most important thing in Trials, which is getting a pick. If your team knows you're on Izanagi's Burden and they give you the ammo at the end of a round and you can go all in with your ammo to get a potential body shot, that gives you a very, very likely chance at being able to quickly get a pick, be aggressive even with your sniper, and even body shot a shotgunner rushing you, which is something I love doing to keep them away. But in any scenario, this is incredibly advantageous because you're almost securing the first pick for your team relatively quickly, and it gives you a little bit more opportunity to play aggressively while doing so. Because as soon as you pretty much guarantee yourself that first pick, the floodgates are open. Your team can just rush in, get on the orb, at least play the orb, or just win the round very quickly. So there you have it. Izanagi's Burden secures two of the most impactful things, I'd argue the most impactful things in a Trials match on its own. The ability to easily get a first pick, or guarantee yourself, or give yourself a better chance at that first pick, and shutting down supers to press more advantage or have a huge comeback. And to me, I very much classify that as a true power weapon for the elimination game mode, of course in Trials of Osiris. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and discussion. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below, and if you'd like to see more content like this, you can check me out on Twitch. I stream incredibly frequently, honestly more than I've been uploading videos obviously lately, at twitch.tv/Drewskis. Link is in the description. Hope to see you there, but if not, thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.